This video is sponsored by Skillshare. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Kurt. I'm a comic book colorist. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I don't believe I've ever done a video on books that I would recommend. It's something that it's come up a lot on streams recently. People asking about books that I recommend to learn more about color and art in general. And so it took me a while to figure out which ones I wanted to talk about, but I narrowed it down to 3 books, and they all cover different aspects of things you need to know to understand how to make art and color art and everything else. So the first one's Color and Light by James Gurney, How to Render by Scott Robertson, and Color and Composition for Film by Hans P. Bacher. So the first one I want to talk about, and I've probably mentioned this on this channel at least once before, but the first one is Color and Light by James Gurney. He's the creator of Dinotopia. You may have heard of that book. So Color and Light is sort of my Bible for coloring, at least. It's a fantastic book. There's a lot of information in this book. It's very dense. So what I would recommend is when you get to a point in the book where you start to feel like it's too much, because there's a lot of information in here, or the chapters stop making as much sense as they did early on, just put it down and practice all the things that you learned in the chapters that do make sense. Practice for 3 or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, pick the book back up again and start over. And what happened to me was, because that's what I did. There were certain chapters I just skipped at the beginning because I'm like, this is not making a whole lot of sense to me at the time. And what it was is my understanding just wasn't quite ready for it yet. And so I would spend, I think like maybe 5-6 months, working on things and doing more studies and all those sort of things, and then pick the book back up again, go back to those chapters that didn't make as much sense. And now they do, because you've got some practice, you've got a little bit more experience. And then I would hit another wall. I hit another chapter where it's like, oh, this is heavy. I would put it down for a couple of months, do some more practicing. I bought actually, you can see, purchased this item in 2014. I've probably read through this book about 5 or 6 times at this point, and I still don't understand all of it. I'm still working through it. So it's an absolute steal at $20 for the paperback. This is basically like a college course on color. Okay. So, or probably better than a college course. Actually, I feel pretty confident saying it's better than a lot of college courses probably. But that's the first one. And as far as, color theory goes, light and shadow, it covers a lot of material, talks a lot about the emotions of color and mixing colors and limited color palettes and how to work within a given color gamut and a lot of the things that I get a lot of questions about. So, I do recommend that. That's my number one. If you only purchase one book today off this list, I would say make it Color and Light. So Color and Light is great for general, just color theory stuff and working with color in general. Now, when it comes to actually like rendering itself, as far as where light and shadow goes and how light bounces around, I really like this book, How to Render by Scott Robertson. It's a very broad book. This covers light and shadow and reflectivity and things in detail that would apply, of course, not just to art or 3D modeling, games, concept art, and comics, whatever. Great book, lots of drawings. I think it also includes some video tutorials that you can download or watch. I haven't had a chance to watch those yet, but there are some things in there. Big, dense book, though. Lots of stuff. Kind of the same thing that I said about the James Gurney book. It's a dense book. So like, chip away at it. Don't feel bad if it doesn't make sense the first time you read it. Fantastic book. I don't really know what else to say about it other than I learned a lot. You guys are always asking me, it's like, how do you know when edges are soft or hard? All that stuff's in here. All that stuff's in here. You can see I'm just kind of flipping around through here. We've got value, how forms change, direct light, soft light, light decay or fall off, you might call it, rim lights, all that stuff, multiple light sources, all that stuff's in here. Great book. Again, not an expensive book. It's it's $26.49 right now on Amazon. It's more than that if you find it in a bookstore. So again, not a bad price, but it's a big book. It's I don't know how many pages this thing is, but it's 272 pages. So yeah, big book, lots to look at, lots to learn. Just soak in it for a while. That's kind of the case with all of these books. These are not books that you're going to grab, read over the weekend and just suck it all up and absorb it all and learn it all and master it all. Like these are things that you're going to keep working on the rest of your life. At least that's how I look at it. Before we get to the last one's about storytelling. This is a big one. But first, a message from Skillshare. When I first started trying to learn more about digital coloring myself, one of the early tutorials I found useful was from an artist named Patrick Brown. He does amazing work, very dynamic, lots of great lighting and storytelling at work. You can see he's using a lot of the same principles we've discussed on this channel over the years. He has a class on Skillshare Premium, which I thought was a great course. The first 1,000 people to click the link in the description can get Skillshare Premium for free for a limited time. After that, it's less than $10 a month when you purchase the annual subscription. It's an online learning community with tons of classes on all sorts of topics like illustration, graphic design, logos, music production, web development, you name it. If you're a curious person and you want to learn from professionals, members get access to thousands of classes with hands-on projects and a massive community of other learners. You can even get my new Clip Studio coloring course on there free for 2 months. Check the link in the description for more details. All right, the next one, the last one. It's called Vision, Color and Composition for Film. This is it's a big hardback book, murder weapon kind of book. You can kill somebody with it. I don't recommend that. It's a little bit pricey because it's a hardback. This one's $37.90 as of this recording right now. But I don't think I've ever found a better resource for explaining just art concepts in general. Now, the first thing that might throw you off on this one is just the name. It's called Color and Composition for Film, but the rules are all the same, okay? So like the same things that we apply to comic book pages and artwork and paintings and everything else are the same principles that filmmakers use and cinematographers use when they're lighting movies and when they're making movies. And this book covers a wide range of topics, okay? And I can barely scratch the surface going through all these today. So just running through the actual table of contents here real quick. It starts off with the color psychology, how we associate certain things with color. It goes into line, shape, value, color, light, camera position, composition, and I think it ends in composition. What I like about it is there are tons and tons and tons of examples. There's so many examples in every single chapter. There's a lot of different little thumbnails and exercises to do. And if the storytelling aspect of art is something that has, can be confusing for people or can be hard to kind of wrap your head around, I think this is a perfect book for anyone that is kind of in that position. Like I'm flipping through as we talk about this. This entire section right here, double page spread across the book. It's one scene. It's one little house on a prairie, and we have happy stylized color palettes. We have ice cold color palettes. The heat of battle, warm sunset, early spring morning, wild west, autumn night, snowy winter night, conflict, like a romantic mood. All these different moods and feels of all these different artworks. It's all the same painting, just completely different color schemes. And there's so many good ideas for color palettes. There's also a whole section, you guys can barely see this. I'm trying to find a place to get into the mic. But you can see there's different lighting setups here on the planes of the face, which is kind of neat. So if you're ever looking for some new idea or new angle you haven't tried before, there's a lot of things that you could probably be inspired from on that. It talks about things like brightness and exposure, which is, sound like photography terms, but really these are all things that someone that is doing color artwork needs to know about. But honestly, I would recommend this book to, I think, anyone that is making any type of art. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of art you're making, whether we're not just talking about comics here or movies or whatever. If you're making visual art, buy this book. It is well worth it. The thing that I think the most about this is there were several terms in this book that I knew, but not in the context they were using it. Things like resonance. It's like, I think of resonance, we think about like a resonating frequency or something vibrating or whatever. And but it talks about using resonance in your artwork and having colors that are resonant against each other. And there's a lot of things in this book that, I've been drawing since birth, basically. And there was a lot of things in this book that I noticed myself doing that I've done my entire life or done from very young age that I didn't know there was a term for it. I didn't know, you know, that kind of thing. So I can't speak highly enough about that book if that was not clear today. So there's 3 books you can check out if you are so inclined. Color and Light, again, for the color theory side. How to Render for rendering light and shadow. And Vision, Color, and Composition for Film, which is sort of just an overall very broad book, covers a lot of material, but really the composition aspect of it was probably the most enlightening for me. And I know you guys will probably enjoy it if you check it out. So thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. All the links are in the description. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.